Hello, my name is Lauren MacCready, and this is my original contribution as a part of my capstone course as a student enrolled in the American College of Education in the Curriculum and Instruction Graduate Program. The topic I will be presenting on is effective instruction in a one-to-one school environment. The outcomes of this presentation are to first differentiate between synchronous and asynchronous learning and discuss the role of technology, articulate effective classroom management practices for a one-to-one environment, explain how technology supports the development of 21st century skills, and illustrate how technology can aid in differentiated instruction and assessment, as well as increase student engagement. The rationale behind this is there is an increasing educational institutions are transitioning to integrate more and more technology to meet the rising demand of a workforce and participatory citizens that are able to use digital technologies. So it is imperative that educational staff are aware of the benefits and rationale for utilizing said technology, but also the best practices to ensure their success. So let's begin with the definition and a comparison of the two different modes of instruction when it comes to digital mediums, synchronous and asynchronous instruction. Synchronous learning means that it is happening in real time with the entire class working together. Asynchronous learning allows for independent, flexible, and self-paced learning that can occur at different times. These terms were brought to the forefront of education as the COVID-19 pandemic forced many schools into a range of different learning environments, ranging from fully remote to hybrid to fully in person. The idea of synchronous versus asynchronous learning is now, or not a new concept. Anyone who is familiar with the concept of classroom instruction as opposed to homework has an idea of the concept already. However, with this model being turned upside down as a result of the pandemic, these modes of learning took on a whole new meaning. Schools reimagined their instruction and broadened their conceptualization of what learning needs to look like and how learning needs to happen. This is why technology is crucial to the success of so many educational institutions, because it was the instrumental tool to supporting both of these modes of learning. However, many schools are making the shift to becoming one-to-one, meaning every student and teacher is equipped with a digital device to be used throughout the day as well as probably at home. Therefore, it is imperative that we expand upon our knowledge and skills gained as a result of our experiences over the past 2 school years in order to best prepare for students and teachers for success in student or technology integrated classrooms. Now let's discuss how technology can impact classroom management practices and what the best practices in a tech-infused classroom are using research and evidence-based practices. First, a school-wide positive behavioral support system, or PBSS, is a proactive tool of managing student behavior by creating a standardized behavioral matrix of expected behavior. Technology, as pervasive as it is in today's schools, as well as students' lives, it needs to be addressed as part of the social skills instruction. All the behavioral and social skills that we want students to learn can also be done on their devices. Many would argue that this is even more crucial to have social skills instruction with technology, as it is a vast new environment with perceived anonymity leading to de-individuation. Administrators, counselors, social workers, and teachers all have a role to play in teaching, providing opportunities for students to engage socially online, as well as reinforce desirable behavior and capitalize on teachable moments. Examples of lessons to teach this expectation of digital citizenship would be the think technique as demonstrated on this slide. Having this school-wide level support and reinforcement strengthens the efforts of individual classrooms to teach pro-social behavior with technology. Upper educational institutions should have more student input on the classroom rules and expectations, since one of the desired skills educators want for these formative years is decision-making and the realization of the impact of their behaviors. Student voice and allowing students to be active players in the design, execution, and upholding of their school's behavioral standards not only perpetuates the skills we want students to gain and increases self-efficacy, but it also concurrently allows for the school to gain students' perspectives on the environment, instructional, and cultural factors that may impact a school-wide behavioral support system and help the school to adjust and create a more effective behavioral support system. As Prensky would argue, yes, these students are digital natives as opposed to many teachers who are considered digital immigrants, but we must be patient because while they may have pre-existing schema to conceptualize how to use technology, there is still definitely a learning curve. Students are already trying to master executive functioning skills aside from the technology, and with the addition of technology, it only creates an added layer of complexity. Therefore, students need to be directly taught how to interact with their device. On the other hand, students as digital natives can be used as assets when introducing these tools. According to Dutton, a knowledge broker has three key characteristics. They are current with the technology, they have an interest in finding supportive content, and they must be able to transfer their knowledge to the teacher. Students can act as knowledge brokers when it comes to technology integration. They can act as a medium for teachers to explain new technologies, suggest ways on how to implement them, and can help us improve our utilization of them. For example, we've had students this semester point out that rather than complicating the uploading and downloading of assignments via our online portal Canvas, we should simply use Google Docs as a product sharing platform, which ended up being much easier for all those involved and was more inclusive of students who did not have Microsoft Office on their home computer. Now that we know how to organize our classroom routines and policies to best support technology integration, let's discuss curriculum formation. More specifically, what skills do students need to master to be successful in school and life, and what role technology plays? Ferriter and Gary make a great point when he argues that 21st century skills are being marketed as the new, quote, elite skills, but they are essentially the same skills from 30 years ago. The ability to work with others, critical thinking, being creative, etc., are not new to American classrooms. What is new, however, and what should be focused on are the new contexts in which students need to apply their knowledge and skills, as well as the tools available to them, i.e. technology. Because of this, future professionals will need to be able to identify bias, manage huge volumes of information, be persuasive and be flexible, and have the ability to adapt to a fast-paced, ever-changing world. With the sheer amount of information available online and with the nature of an online echo chamber, some of the more biased and possibly incorrect voices are amplified. Students need to be able to successfully navigate the online world for credible sources in order to accomplish all of the other 21st century skills we want them to acquire. Ferriter and Gary also provide a 4-question framework in student-friendly language to guide them through judging online sources. First, does the information on the website make sense? Practice healthy skepticism and also corroborate with multiple sources. Number 2, what kinds of sources does the website link or cite? There's a big difference in the quality of a source if it is a peer-reviewed article versus simply a blog. Number 3, can I find any evidence of bias on the website? Students should be taught to identify emotionally loaded words and phrases that suggest unusual levels of urgency, passion, or a potential call to action. It is important to teach students that bias does not automatically mean that information is incorrect, but they need to understand that they may not be getting the whole picture. And lastly, number 4, what does the fine print say? Meaning, search possible content that states any disclaimers, frequently asked questions, a contact us page, etc., to investigate any other potential red flags that could call into question the reliability of the source. Continuing the thread of student support, let's review how technology can be used to meet an array of student needs and increase student engagement. The quote, web refers broadly to access documents, pictures, audio, animation, and other media using the internet. A web page typically consists of only visual or text similar to a viewing of a document, but on a digital display screen. However, as technological innovations have occurred to meet the rising demand to analyze, configure, and share information, Web 2.0 tools have emerged. Web 2.0 tools are internet-based tools that go beyond just having the user receive information, but rather requires an interaction on the part of the user. Web 2.0 apparatuses emphasize user-created content and participatory content. Web 2.0 tools can be used to support both synchronous and asynchronous instruction and assessment. Some tools in particular have the ability to have live and remote features depending on the environment. For example, GimKit is a grading platform for classrooms that requires knowledge, collaboration, and strategy to win. Teachers can create a series of questions and answers and choose their format, such as people versus zombies, where students are divided into 2 teams and have to individually answer questions to score points to earn the ability to attack the other team and defend their own. This would be an example of a fun synchronous learning activity. However, teachers can also use the exact same questions and be able to choose the format that can then be done individually and assign for students to do at home, such as the floor is lava, where a student is racing to answer the questions correctly to stay above the rising levels of lava and escape the volcano. In both methods, students are being assessed with the same questions, which makes it a great flexible tool for educators. Both methods also permit the teacher to see each student's personal score, so it can be used as a formative assessment to inform instruction and provide feedback to students, as well as summatively assess student achievement towards the learning targets. There are a myriad of Web 2.0 tools that can be used to differentiate instruction as well as assessments. On the slide, I provided an example of a Web 2.0 tool that can be used to achieve each level of Bloom's revised taxonomy that was created as a product of my graduate coursework at the American College of Education. There are many more that can be used for each category. Many Web 2.0 tools, such as Flippity, have the ability to adapt and design your own content, thereby accomplishing more than one level of Bloom's taxonomy just on one Web 2.0 tool. It should be noted that many popular Web 2.0 tools have free versions, but require subscriptions to optimize teacher and student usage. Therefore, it is very beneficial for administrators to understand the importance of investing in at least a few school-wide licenses for Web 2.0 tools. Furthermore, having school-wide consistency in some of the more prominently used Web 2.0 tools allows for greater student understanding and know-how with the tool and how it interacts with their device. By increasing their fluency with specific Web 2.0 tools, it would grant more time for learning and less time for having to learn new Web 2.0 tools within each individual classroom. Chapman and Robert assert that Web 2.0 tools can offer a variety of resources, content, methods of instruction, and assessment. In terms of resources, teachers and schools in general can access previously hard to access materials for students. For example, as a result of moving to a one-to-one environment, I have been able to offer my history students a variety of primary sources I would otherwise may have not ever discovered. We can also offer students a range of ways to learn the content and skills. For example, infographics are digital visual representations of information, data, or concepts. I think that the process of creating and using infographics is an important tool for a digital learner. Culturally, we have trended towards a more visual medium to communicate information and ideas. Modern culture is visual culture, and graphic images have become the principal medium of communication. In order to adapt with this change, students need to be armed with visual literacy skills. So using mediums such as infographics, videos, and other imagery is important. We can also use these Web 2.0 tools to offer a menu of creative project options for students. Anything from a video recording of themselves creating a newscast, creating a multimedia presentation, a photojournalism portfolio, are all great ideas. And if we design these assessments to be interpersonal, we can also touch on social and emotional skills on top of critical thinking skills such as communication, collaboration, and creative problem solving. Therefore, when differentiation meets instruction, we can see the growth of those 21st century skills, as well as high student success as their needs are better met. Differentiation also addresses varying student needs. For example, visual mediums, as we discussed earlier, help ELL students understand content. Teachers are able to find readiness appropriate resources for their students, and providing so many options for content, process, and product opens up the potential for student choice. This brings me to my next point, that technology increases student engagement. As I said, student choice only increases student engagement with the incorporation of technology because there are many more choices for students' resources resources to analyze, topics to research, ways to learn information, things to create, and more ways to collaborate with teachers and their peers. Bilivakat, Gracie, and Fremkes assert that various technologies have been shown to result in higher levels of engagement and superior attainment in realizing learning outcomes. There is no, quote, one-size-fits-all way to teach and learning, and therefore differentiation is key. The technology landscape is applicable for students of any class, age, experience, and ability level. This is especially true when the technology is used to gamify teaching to increase student motivation, as well as to use the technology as a tool to close the gap between learning demographics. The characteristics of a well-designed learning experience are that it motivates students using emotional engagement, has clear goals, which allows for specific and immediate feedback, holds the attention of the participant, allows for practice, and allows chances for reflection. You may find all of the sources I use cited here for your future reference. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation. I am very passionate about the role technology plays in classrooms. Please feel free to reach out to me using my contact information for further discussion or questions.